I'm Nicole and I'm going to be attempting this year's NaNoWriMo challenge. NaNoWriMo is a challenge where writers all around the world attempt to write a 50,000 word novel in the month of November. This challenge happens every year and this year I'm going to be partaking in it. I attempted to do the NaNoWriMo challenge last year for the first time ever, but I went into it really underprepared. I thought I could just write stuff on the fly. I had this story in mind that I've had in mind for years, and I thought I knew it so well I could just bash out the novel in the month of November and all would be good. But also, at the very last minute, I decided to change kind of the whole plot and setting I had in mind for that novel, and I just ended up getting so frustrated and kind of like panicked just trying to reach the 50,000 word count that I wasn't able to succeed last year. This year I am going into the month of November with a plan and I'd like to share that with you. First off, the biggest thing I've done to plan for NaNoWriMo this year is to just plan ahead. Last year I went into the writing process not really having a plan at all. I had no outline, no character guides, just like an idea of where I wanted the story to go, ideas for some scenes and like the setting, but I was really just trying to come up with things in the moment. But this year is different. This year I have planned out pretty much everything I need. I have a full skeleton of all the scenes I want to write, a rough outline of all the chapters, what's going to go on in the chapters, and I also have some loose character guides as well to go off of. Compared to last year, I am way more prepared this year and I'm hoping it'll help me get to the finish line of 50,000 words. About the story I'm writing this year, I don't really want to go into too much detail. I find that when I talk about a story and kind of explain things, it's like my brain gets too excited about what I'm going to be writing, and because I've already talked about it and shared this excitement and shared it out loud, I don't want to go out and put it down on paper. I'm very much a writer who is fine thinking all the thoughts in my head and writing them down in my planning and just having a very internal dialogue with myself. But right now, if I were to tell you the whole plot about the story or go tell my friend about the story, it's like I just crawl into myself and it's not the same. It's not mine and how I want to write it anymore because someone else's impression of it has kind of colored it, if that makes sense. But I will say it is a romance novel. It is the same idea I was doing for NaNoWriMo last year, and unlike last year, I will not be betraying myself by deciding to change the plot and the setting at the very last minute. I went into NaNoWriMo last year with a clear picture of how I wanted this story to turn out, and then I was just this story takes place in the summertime. It has always taken place in the summertime. I've thought about this story for years. I've never written it down fully. It takes place in the summertime, and last year for NaNoWriMo, I decided it should just take place in Christmas because, it's November and Christmas is around the corner and won't that be so much fun to write? And it just didn't work out. So yes, it is a romance novel. It's one I've been thinking about for a long time. It is not a steamy erotic romance novel. I think it's kind of like a romance novel that's gonna involve themes about finding yourself as a person. At least I hope it will. I am not sure if I'm going to be sharing it or how I'm going to be publishing it. If I'm going to be publishing it, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going into November with the plan of getting my whole first draft out there. This will be the first time I've ever written a full-length novel in its entirety, and I am very scared. But I think the whole point of NaNoWriMo is to put yourself out there, to challenge yourself as a writer, and just do it. I think the hardest part about writing is actually writing. Last year when I attempted the NaNoWriMo challenge, I tried to write everything in Microsoft Word, and a combination of Microsoft Word and Google Docs. And I know that works for a lot of people, but for me, I just tend to get really overwhelmed when I have to kind of work with something that's so linear, I guess you could say. I had one document for just thoughts and things and random stuff I wanted to put down, and I had another one with kind of some character ideas I would throw around, and then I had another document that was basically my entire manuscript. So it had everything I was writing, the full 20,000 words, chapter by chapter of everything that was going on. I'm just the type of person to feel very overwhelmed in that kind of fashion. It's I don't remember what I had in this folder, I don't remember what I had in this file, and then it's just seeing everything I had written the day before, not being able to kind of jump around between chapters if I wanted to. It was just too distracting for me, so this year I am giving Scrivener a try. I've actually been using Scrivener to organize all my ideas so far, and what I really like about it is it's kind of like a big binder. So in this binder, I can keep all my character profiles, I can have my entire manuscript ready to go, and I can have basically anything I want to throw in there. So right now I've got my plot outline there, I've got my giant brain dump of all my ideas, any little thought that comes to mind, I just throw it in there. It's basically kind of like my scribble area. And then I have a section where I can keep track of all the characters. And I think what is my favorite thing about Scrivener so far is that there's like a bulletin board style thing that you can have for each of these sections. For my whole manuscript, I was actually able to plan out every single chapter and see them all laid out in this big bulletin board kind of style. And the great thing about this is like I can move around each of these chapters if I wanted to. And then when I'm ready to write, inside each of these chapters, I can write all the different scenes, and then if I ever forget what I'm writing about, there's actually a whole summary just waiting there for me to look back on. And unlike before when I was struggling with like the Microsoft Word document and then also just writing stuff in Google Docs, it's all there. So if on a whim I want to open up, say, someone's character profile, I can look at that character profile while I'm writing, and it's just super easy to go back and forth. There's no me trying to remember where everything is, and it's just super easy to reference, and I'm hoping that'll be a key part of my success this year. So last year when I went into the writing challenge, I basically just set out a weekly word goal for myself. I'm sure that works for a lot of people, but for me it just didn't work. Like I have to pretty much break things down into like step-by-step, like accomplishable goals for myself, because yes, the idea of writing 50,000 words is this grand goal, but in my head it was kind of like this concept I couldn't wrap my head around, and I do work a full-time job, so in my mind I was like, you know, if I set myself this 12,500 word goal, which in like 4 weeks will get me to 50,000 words, at the end of my week on a Sunday, as long as I have those 12,500 words written down, like I'll be good. Except the problem was that I didn't set any daily goals for myself, so at the end of the week, on the weekend, I was just scrambling usually to write like 12,000 words in one go, and that's a lot. I didn't even do that in university when I'm writing like 10,000 word papers. It is a lot to put on myself. So this year I have set out a schedule of daily goals. The actual writing schedule I have planned out for myself is going to be way more structured than last year. I am setting myself a daily goal Monday to Friday. I do work a full-time job, so I've kind of set like what I feel like is kind of a more conservative word limit. It's still going to be a challenge, but I know on those days like I really have to focus on like working, and then, you know, if at the end of the workday I'm tired, like it's still doable for me, or doable to try and attempt to do in the morning of. If you see me looking down, I'm just looking down at my laptop here because I had to write all the numbers down. I'm very bad at memorizing numbers, so just forgive me as I kind of read it off. So I figured out that there's 22 weekdays in November. That's Monday to Fridays. And then there are 4 Saturdays in November. And I wanted to try and keep Sunday as a rest day, so that's why I'm using only the weekdays and Saturdays to kind of make my word count calculation. My idea is that on weekdays, Monday to Friday, I'm going to be writing a minimum of 1,500 words a day. And then on Saturdays, because I'm not working on a Saturday, I'm going to aim to write 4,250 words in that day. And then I'm going to try and keep Sunday as a rest day. So I'm keeping these minimums as like, I'm going to try and be really strict about the minimums. So I'm trying to find a balance this year. Instead of trying to do this like weekly word limit, I'm thinking about the big picture, how I can reach the final total in the end. By doing this with all the weekdays combined, that's going to be 33,000 words. And then with the 4 Saturdays, that's going to be 17,000 words. And if you add that up, that's going to be a total of 50,000 words. So I'm hoping that's really doable for me. And then also it's just kind of like another push to try to get myself to the finish line. I booked a vacation day for the last day of November, which I am so grateful for that I am allowed to do that. And I'm going to use that as a catch-up day. Because realistically, as much as I try to stick to this word count and get everything done, I know that life happens. I want to be able to just write for the whole month of November and get this done. It's a whole month of trying to do this, and it can be hard. So I'm giving myself that last day to just use it as a catch-up day. I'm trying to stick to this really strict Sunday as a rest day, but like say I'm doing something all day on a Saturday, I'm going to use the Sunday to write, and then, you know, if I can't get all the words done on the Saturday, well then I'll try and write them on the Sunday. I'm trying to be kinder with myself this year and like set myself these goals that are really attainable instead of just kind of like floating around not sure what I'm doing, and I'm hoping setting a schedule for myself is really going to help me through with the challenge. I have also set a reward for myself at the end of this challenge, and I know that writing 50,000 words is going to be a huge accomplishment and reward in itself. Like hopefully by the end of this I'll have my first draft of my novel ready to go, and that's like already accomplishing a huge dream I have. But I am a very reward based person. Like if I know there's something I can look forward to at the end of this, it just makes me kind of want to work harder for it. So aside from having this completed first draft ready for me to go, I've also set the reward for myself of reaching out to an artist to get the cover of my book designed. I don't know if I'm going to be like self-publishing this, if I'm even going to put it out there, if I'm going to try and get it published by an official publisher. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. All I've set is the goal of just writing this first draft and seeing where I'm going. But I think something that would be really nice is to kind of like commemorate the ending of this journey of like writing my first draft by getting the cover designed. It may not, actually be the cover I use officially. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think being able to commission someone to create a cover for me will just really solidify the journey that I've gone on, and it'll be nice to have a little art piece to commemorate the moment. I haven't decided if I'm actually going to do this yet or not. We'll see, but it would be nice to have a little celebration with friends where maybe I could read the first chapter of my book to them or something like that. Again, I haven't set those plans yet. I'm kind of nervous that, I won't finish the 50,000 words and then I'll be very disappointed, but that's okay. I'll see how things progress through the month, and if things are going well, then maybe I will arrange to have this celebration. But definitely upon accomplishing those 50,000 words, I want to reward myself by getting the book cover designed, even if it's just like a fake book cover just for me. I don't know about you if you are a writer, but for me, I really enjoy writing along to music, so I've created a playlist in Spotify of all the songs that really remind me of the characters in the book and like moments in the book and just things that feel really good to me when I'm thinking about the story that I can really imagine myself writing to. So I have that playlist ready to go. I know it's a full month of writing, so I don't know if this playlist will get me through, but it definitely has a lot of the emotional themes I kind of want to convey in the novel. So I highly recommend making a playlist if you are also going to be writing. And that about covers everything I've done to plan and prepare for NaNoWriMo. I'm excited to finally just put my story out there, get it down onto paper or onto a screen, and just have it out of my head and into the world, if that makes sense. I hope that all this planning I've done leads to success. I'm definitely going to give it my hardest try, and we'll see how it goes. If you have any questions for me, please leave them in the comments below. I know I didn't go into a lot of detail of actually how I planned for it in terms of like planning the plot and all my characters and outlines and things like that. Maybe I'll cover it in the future if that's something you're interested in. If you are also a writer who's participating in NaNoWriMo or just a writer in general, also leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you, maybe build up a little writing community between us. That's all from me. Thanks for watching this video, listening to what I have planned, and if you are watching this before November starts, please wish me luck. I think I'm going to need a lot of luck, but I also know that I am going to do my best to push through and complete these 50,000 words this year. I'm also probably going to be vlogging it, so look forward to those videos in the future. Until next time, bye!